I'm here with Julie Jakopic. And, in the world, Julie is the president and CEO at I Lead Strategies, where she helps visionary leaders and organizations do the work that really matters and live lives that they love. Whether she's working with Fortune 500 executives or elected officials or nonprofit change makers or mission-driven founders, Julie really is helping clients cut through the chaos and get clear on their goals and build resilient and people-first organizations that actually deliver results. Welcome, Julie. Hi, love.
Hey.
I've
Bio's a little the bios are sort of ridiculous, right? Like it's like which version
like
of
yours.
us we
I
went
really
there,
like your bio.
I've worked hard on it.
True, for one thing, and it establishes already that you bridge the worlds because it's true. You advise elected officials, you advise policymakers. You are situated in the greater DC area. You are at ground zero this year for all the crazy hoo-ha that's been swirling, and you're an undercover intuitive. You've managed to find a way to bring the magic into the most unlikely of boardrooms. And I think you're brilliant at it. You're also this crazy creative in the midst of a bunch of really heavy, I don't know. I respect that you can be in that vortex and be who you be. So let's talk about it. What's it been like this year? Holy crap. Being who you
this
be.
Year's been a thing. This year's been a thing, right? Like if I, think about who I wanted to be when I grew up, this isn't quite her, right? I think I wanted to be the sort of left brain wonk who,
really?
And I did those things, but at great energetic cost, because I was very busy pretending I wasn't intuitive, and that wasn't part of it. And
okay, tell me about that. First of all, when you were a kid, what did you think you would grow up to be? What did you imagine or hope that you would grow up to be? What?
A doctor. A doctor.
A doctor. Okay. And then
I would pretend that I was a doctor. And then I went to college, and there were a whole lot of other ways I could help people that didn't require passing physics, which I probably could have done, except it conflicted with my then boyfriend's schedule. And I hated it. And I learned there were other things I could do.
The hating it is a problem because physics is probably the least of your issues at that point.
Well, yeah,
like
at
a
that point,
doctor,
that's true.
when I talk to my clients who are doctors and they went to school for like at least 8 years, college, grad school, med school, and that like they were enslaved for like 12 years before they get to, anyways.
So school was where I felt safe and smart and competent. Home was not. Home was never enough, lots demanded, grown-up kid, which means by definition you fail. You cannot be a grown-up 10-year-old.
No, you really can't.
You really can't.
Tried.
And so school was where people told me I was good. School, like in the list of facts about me, smart was one of the things that I knew and I know.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm sort of I'm a perfectly attractive human, but the daughter of a model. So yeah, not going to win that race.
Daughter of a model. When you're
right, you're not going to win that race, right? Like, so the idea of being in school forever it's still fine with me. If somebody would pay me to go to school for the rest of my life, I would do it. It wasn't that part. It was that I had more choices.
Yeah.
And for the first time, I was financially responsible for myself and had to figure that part out. And there were more choices. And so while I will creep people out and tell them that I loved organic chemistry, I hated physics.
Yeah. Okay. I hear that.
Just don't care. I want the light to come on when I hit the switch.
I've been on this kick recently about the word gifted. And I know my parents tested me when I was little and identified me as gifted and then sent me to gifted education. Did that get put on you?
Not quite that way. I sort of look today like a little preppy brat, and there's a part of me that is and was. Okay. I went to a local private school, and then I went to an all-girls school, and I was one of the youngest in my class because I didn't have to repeat a grade.
Oh, I see.
Almost everybody that went to Holton repeated a grade.
Holton.
And and my birthday is in October, so I was young anyway, and then I didn't repeat. So I think, in a sense, I mean, there was probably an 18-month span over my grade at any point in time. And
so you were a prep school non-failure.
Yes.
Okay. Which makes you an elite achiever.
In a bunch of ways that I didn't really understand. I mean, I think one of the things that I've come to understand differently is, look, at the end of the day, I'm a cis white girl.
Yeah.
So I take the girl part out, and there's a lot of privilege. And I grew up in a family that did feast or famine, but sometimes there certainly was the money for school. And the privilege of that is, A, I got a world-class education.
Yeah.
B, what I didn't understand is it's who I got to know and who my friends were.
That social
It's who
capital.
I was surrounded by, that social capital that I didn't understand really for a long time. And I was working with one of my nonprofit clients as an organization that serves refugees, one of the larger organizations, and was facilitating a board meeting. And there's a woman on the board who is an attorney, and who one of the things she did was the Department of Health and Human Services used to be separate was the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare. And she is the attorney who wrote the language to separate those things out.
Huh.
How do you get to do that? And then, I worked in this office on the Hill, and she worked for Ted Kennedy, and she told the story of getting that job. And the story of getting that job is she got the interview. She blew the interview. She called a friend of hers who worked in another senator's office as chief of staff and said, I blew it. Can you help me get another interview? She got the job because she knew someone she could ask for help who she didn't plan to know.
Yeah.
She just happened to go to school with them.
Yeah.
And that story of Helen's sort of career being built on the fact that she could call a college friend of hers to fix an interview is the privilege, right? And how that plays out. It's not, yes, it's been easier to walk in some rooms. In a lot of rooms, I was the shortest, youngest, and the only female. So certainly looking like me wasn't necessarily helpful for much of my career. But who I got to have as friends was sort of predestined. And that part we don't really talk about. It's the access.
That's major privilege. And we both, we have that in common.
Yeah. And I think the intuition was always there, but I didn't understand what it was. So
how did it show up? How did it show up for you before you understood what it was?
If I'm totally honest, and I didn't understand that I was trying to understand something, is that I would feel other people's feelings and try to explain them in my own life. Yeah. Right? Is that exhausting behavior of I feel awful. Well, why do I feel awful? Is this why I feel awful? And if you try hard enough, you can explain any emotion you have out of your stuff, but it wasn't my stuff. And so you can't fix the stuff that's not your stuff. So it was exhausting.
It's exhausting to be an empath, especially a perfectionist empath. Because if you have this training that you have to be perfect, and you're feeling all these negative feelings from all the crazy people around you and all the people who don't know how to work their emotions, it's an unwinnable game.
Oh, totally. Totally.
It's a heavy load. And you
feel unworthy and never enough. Never enough for anybody, too much for everybody else. And it was really, really hard. And then as I got older, I would have these experiences where I would just know stuff. Maybe one of the most striking is back when long distance was a thing and you asked permission to make long distance phone calls, right?
Yeah.
I woke up one morning and I was really sure that my college roommate's high school friend had been killed in a motorcycle accident. This isn't a guy I knew very well.
Yeah.
I just was sure I was right. And screw it, I'm calling anyway. And her mom answered the phone. And for some reason, I told her mom why I was calling. And her mom said, can you call back at 2? I have to tell her.
Because she already knew, but she hadn't told her
She
yet.
already knew and hadn't told Teresa. But what I had dreamt was true. And
Wow.
and then for a long time, I
Hard for-
only knew bad things.
Yeah. For a long time, you only knew bad things.
Right. I knew
Uh-huh.
can't find somebody and would like know to go to the hospital. Like stupid,
Okay.
not like, I mean, that's probably the cleanest bounded thing, but I would know things, but they were all bad things. And I happened on a therapist who knew what was happening.
Okay.
And who got it and who said, what do you want to do? Do you want to feel things? Do you want to not feel things? And I'm like, it's how I do my life. I guess I want to understand it. Who made a big effort to help me begin to understand it. And I remember asking her, why do I only know bad things? And she said, because that's all you pay attention to.
Because that's all you pay attention to.
Really?
Do you
Well, and
think
our brains are wired to keep us alive, right?
Yeah, I imagine that comes from the vigilance of growing up with, your early years were with a family that wasn't happy-go-lucky. And like that vigilance that we develop when we're the ones who have to hold it all together, maybe then it's like we're always scanning for the bad things, the dangers,
It's also how we are actually wired as human beings. Good stuff doesn't kill us.
True.
So
Right.
our brains are wired to pay attention to what's wrong because that's what's dangerous. And so we're Velcro for bad shit and Teflon for good shit. Like
Yeah.
if you've ever gotten the instruction when you supervise a lot of people that you should give 3 positives for every negative, it's because that's how much your brain needs to hear it to even it out.
Yeah.
And so,
And this is
of course,
part
I
of what
only
you
notice
teach.
bad
This
shit.
is part of how you mentor leaders, inside of this vortex of the greater Washington, D.C. area to remain resilient, even when there's a lot of bad stuff.
The bad stuff is contagious right now. The pace, forget the politics for a minute. You can do that. But the pace of chaos is crazy.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, regardless of how you feel about it, people were told they were furloughed. Then they were told they were riffed. Then they were told they were going to get to come back. Then they were told they were riffed again. Then they were told they get to come back. That might actually be how some of it stays. But imagine you're that person. How do you manage your life? Do I have a job? Do I not have a job? Do I know on Thursday if I have a job? And so there's a chaos making that's going on that is exhausting for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. No matter what side of the aisle you're standing on.
It's just not.
Yeah. How do you balance you're very rational. You have systems. You have great systems that you teach and that you guide people through. And you're a radical creative. You're an artist. You're a painter. You're a knowing. You're a seer. Like you're a visionary and a seer. And it sounds, because we've been working together for a long time. We've been friends for a long time. I know about you that you draw yourself you magnetize situations where you can use that intuitive sense, where you're working with people that maybe are empathic or sensitive but don't even realize it. How do you bridge that?
Wow, so many pieces to unpack in there.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
Start at the end and maybe we'll remember the beginning. I think this is a town that thinks it is all rational. But that's not how we make decisions. We like to believe that. There's a great book by a guy named Drew Weston called The Political Brain, I think. Yeah. Sorry, it's over there.
Okay.
And fundamentally, we like to believe we make election decisions rationally. What we do is we make them emotionally and justify them with the facts we can find.
Yeah.
And that is how we make decisions about most things.
Yeah.
It's also why we sometimes get stuck in them.
Yeah.
And so I kind of know that. I know most of the people I work with don't know that. Right. And I think a lot of it is about energy. But if I'm really lucky and I get to do this work from stage, it's kind of easy to say, okay, we're going to do an exercise. Now I want you to inhale. Now I want you to exhale. And I promise the people who are listening, I just started to put to sleep and their energy changed. And if I do that from a stage and then come right back up here, we can then talk about energy changing without it feeling too woo-woo, right? You just had it happen.
Yeah.
Right? I got you to relax, and now I brought you back up here with me.
Yeah.
So, and then we can talk about what happens if you're on the phone with somebody and you were perfectly fine and your life was perfectly fine and they are hysterical. And by the time you get off the phone with them, your voice is way up here and your shoulders are by your ears. Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about that experience. Okay. So I can create the opportunity for people in quite rational ways to go, oh, that's what that is. Okay. Well, how might you do that? I mean, like, I think the most important question I give people to ask is, whose feelings are these?
Whose feelings are these? Yeah.
Right? Whose feelings were those? Are those
these?
Actually your feelings? Or is that how you felt after you met with somebody who has those feelings? And
that's
and
where
then we
you
can
find
start
out,
teasing it apart.
Yeah, who truly is empathic and who's numb or not so emotional or whatever. I really appreciate how you use experience, how you get them doing and like experiencing it for themselves in a simple, accessible way, not making it some woo theory, but rather just let's try something simple and just see what works, because then it's proof of concept. It's beyond reproach. It's right there happening right now. You tell me what it is. It's tangible. Yeah, it's palpable. And it's very embodied and natural. It's very like, oh yeah, that's, that's how I feel. Yeah, I do notice that. Yeah.
And then if it is how you're actually feeling, then we go work on that. If it isn't, we might talk about how can you
whose emotion is it? Yeah.
manage that instead.
How do you talk to someone who hasn't really been in the world of, energetics or emotional, empathic, whatever, like management of empathic boundaries? How do you get there when they realize, when they go, oh my gosh, yeah, this isn't my emotion. Oh my gosh. And that's kind of a little bit of a mind blower for them. What's next?
They might have to get over that moment. Right? Like,
they
if it is a mind blower,
that. Like,
you might have to
take your time, breathe through
like
that.
You might have to just sit with that for a little bit.
It's a mind blower.
But it opens the door, and it isn't everybody, right? It isn't. But I think we tend to attract people like ourselves. I also think this is, I think there's a lot of things we call woo-woo that are science that isn't built yet. This is one of them.
A lot of things that are woo-woo are just science we haven't built yet. Okay. Yeah.
Right? Like, I think we don't know the science of how that transfer happens.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
That doesn't mean there isn't one.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there's and I'm pretty good at reading a room, so there are people I might never try that with. Or I can think of somebody that some people I work for, who is impenetrable.
They're impenetrable.
He's one of the very few people off whom I get like no read. I'm pretty sure I know what it's about. I could unearth it. I don't want that job.
Yeah, and you might not really have informed consent to crack their can, right? Like,
right, exactly. I wouldn't, and even if I got it, thinking about who this particular person Marine, very stalwart. Even if I got permission, it would never occur to them that I know.
Right.
So even if I got consent, I don't think I would be getting consent for what I would be opening.
Uninformed consent.
Does that make any sense? Like, it would.
Totally.
I think, and there's no way to say, well, can I have permission to tell you that I think this is your story?
Right.
Because
it's too late. Cat's out of the bag.
It's too late, right? Like, I can't do that. And so there are people that no, he is not somebody that I there's no professional role that requires it of me. Would it be good if somebody cracked that? Yes. I think it's a mess. It ain't going to be me.
Yeah.
And
The
then
crack
so
has
then
to
what's
happen
the
from the
strategy of working
inside.
with somebody that's that shut
Yeah.
down?
He's got to come to and we both know it often happens that there's an illness or an accident or some other traumatic or otherwise intense change in someone's life that pops them open, and then suddenly they're open to receiving help at a deeper level. But I've always respected your integrity in that way. I've always felt like our ability to see beyond what's normally seen and to feel beyond what's normally felt in people, it is a privilege and a power that must be wielded with integrity. It must be stewarded according to informed consent. It must be brought forth only when it is helpful, needed. And this is like you walking in the halls of power every day. You're walking in an arena where power is the currency. And
Yep.
to teach people and guide people in politics, people in policymaking, people in NGOs and movements and humanitarian organizations, to guide them in how to walk that path of integrity, I feel is one of really the deep pieces of work that you're doing that they don't even realize that's what they're learning with you. But they're grokking it from your field, from your transmission. Do you feel like that's true?
I think it's some of the work I'm most proud of. Yeah. And I think it's also, thinking about the how of it. Sometimes it's also baby steps.
Baby steps.
Right? It's like,
Yeah.
have you considered just one step closer?
Yeah. Yes.
What do you think might happen if you took this? I think I say probably more than I should. I might be, and it's a standing joke. So here's what I end up saying. I might be a little crazy. Okay, we already know I am, but about this. And I probably say
crazy.
that little phrase once a week to someone where I want to try out their openness to something that might be over here. And I know I can stop doing that when their response is, she says this, but she's never crazy.
Right.
Right. Like when somebody actually says, just say it. Like, we know you. No, just say it. And so it's the baby step. It's I know I'm different. I know I'm not crazy. I know the idea is outside the bounds of what somebody else might think of, and that's what they're paying me for.
Right.
But I'm going to enter that conversation with just a little humility and a little timidity.
Yeah. Gently.
So it's theirs.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's integrity. That's integrity. So I want to ask
It's also strategy. Like
and it's also
I have integrity,
what works.
but if I want to win, I mean, let's be honest, I'm also a human, right? If I want to get where I'm trying to go, it does not serve me to blow it up. It doesn't serve them, and it doesn't serve me to handle it any other way.
Right. That speaks to your values of what success is too. Yeah.
That's true.
So I want to ask you, here you are, a deep, empathic, creative being who feels a lot of the feels and who senses a lot of the things and who is really devoted to integrity. And you are currently situated in the middle of a boiling pot of gumbo that is extremely spicy. You could do a lot of different things in your life. You could go out, you could read tarot for a reading, you could paint and just sell your paintings. You could do a lot of different things. What is it that keeps you being willing as an empath to sit in this boiling pot at the hottest point? I mean, I hope it's the hottest point in history. I can't, who knows, it could get hotter, but what is it that keeps you there?
So, there's the sweet answer, and there's the spicy answer.
Ooh, goody. I like
And
those.
the sweet answer is when I was 13, about 4 or 5 months before my father died, I was in a class called Values Clarification,
Nice.
and we had to write our own obituary.
Oh,
I mean, not obituary, our own epitaph.
yeah.
And the epitaph I wrote and kind of expect and have used as a screen for how I've made decisions for half a century since is really simple. She left people better than she found them. And so that's sort of the sweet answer, right? Is I can make a difference here.
Yeah, I get that.
There's also a piece of me that I grew up in a well-off but very complicated, very unhappy family. And I think, like many who have that piece of story, there's an adrenaline rush and there's an adrenaline addiction. And one of the things I've made a commitment to in my life is I don't do drama in my life. I do drama for work.
Right.
Right. And I like that place. It's exciting to be the trim tab or the keystone that moves things. It's exciting to be in that dangerous place. And I would be lying if I didn't tell you that that's part of what I'm here for. My late ex-husband used to say, "What a pity," a Chinese proverb, "What a pity to be part of such interesting times." And I think until recently, this round feels a little more than previous ones. I've been like, well, isn't that what we're here for? Like, what a crashing bore. So there's a part of me that likes being in the middle of trouble. And introducing chairs to chair meet table. You both serve people when they eat. You actually have something in common. Stop fighting.
Right. Beautiful.
I kind of like that role of, I mean, and I do it reflexively.
Yeah, it's your purpose. Like
somebody had an obnoxious
I see how
post
well situated you are. Yeah.
Somebody had this obnoxious post today about what I would say was bad news coverage of the food issues right now. And I would argue that maybe it was a person who was a bad example, or quite honestly, since I can't find the news report, I'm not sure it isn't just a bad stock image that implied somebody had a lot. It's a big kitchen. There's lots of fresh fruit. There's some sort of tablet. And people started critiquing not the story, but the person in it as somebody who didn't need. And and was somehow cheating them out of their tax dollars. It's the kindest way I know how to describe where they were. And so I just went and got the SNAP eligibility requirements, the food stamp eligibility requirement numbers from the state that this occurred in, and posted them. And suggested that they tell me how they would live on that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, oh, huh?
Yeah. Oh.
Right?
It's a different reality. Yeah.
Yeah. So I tend to do things like that just in life, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. You're not afraid of the boiling gumbo. You thrive in it.
And the
You
older
can
I
manage
get,
it.
the older I get, the easier it is. I've spent a lot of time here in my community helping get housing for folks with substance abuse, mental health, and developmental disabilities. And I can remember getting the very first piece of hate mail I ever got said I was despicable. And I am grateful for that word choice because I have been imitating Daffy Duck for 30 years. I guess I am despicable.
Despicable.
Like if they had used some other word, it wouldn't have been funny, but like that gave me a way to cope with it.
Despicable.
And some of the people who were angry then are still people who are angry about any kind of, think of the NIMBY YIMBY issue anywhere. They are at the forefront. I could write their names down. I know who they are. And what I have, the privilege of having lived in this community for a long time, is that the next time they come before me, I have a couple questions. What was your house worth when we met in 1996? I have that data. What's it worth now? I have that data too.
Yeah.
You've been upset with me for 30 years. You still live here, right?
Wow.
And your house has tripled in value?
Uh-huh.
And somehow this little apartment building is going to destroy your neighborhood and your property values, right?
Right.
And I don't have to get mad. And I don't have to be snotty. And I don't have to swear or call them the names that I actually privately believe. All I have to do is ask a couple questions. And that's kind of fun
That's great.
in a sick sort of way of like,
So,
really?
so just to close us out, just to kind of finish out our time together, I want to just ask you, because I also know that you flow. We've already witnessed you flowing. What do you know? What do you want us to know? What do you want us to know about remaining resilient during this
So
time?
you asked me something a few minutes ago, and if people take nothing but the next couple sentences, you talked about the fact that I paint. I take a break between things and go paint with watercolors for 5 minutes. It shifts where I am. It's how I get rid of the feelings from that meeting before I come into the next one.
That's cool.
And then I keep doing it. And when I don't, I get brittle and cranky. Most of us can count to 4. Most of us are breathing. So the box breathing method of inhale to 4, hold for 4, exhale to 4, hold for 4, repeat it. You'd be surprised if you take an actual deep breath, one where you actually expand your abdomen, not hold your breath, is a big thing. Taking a bath and washing the day off, going for a walk, doing something that's completely different. So I sit at my desk and solve problems all day. I love working with people who are trying to get themselves out of a mess, whether that's trying to figure out the best decision out of bad decisions right now of like, do you have to lay people off and who are you going to lay off and what are you going to do for them? Or what else can you do if you don't do that? To, oops, I made a big mistake, screwed up an IT system, flirted with the wrong person, thought I could do something that is broken and now I have to stop it, but it's a train coming down a track, help you figure out how to do those things. But part of it is you got to do those little tiny things, and they feel like little tiny things to take care of yourself, or you end up with somebody like me because you just blew up your whole life. And while I'm good at helping in those situations, gosh, I'd sure like to talk to you before then.
I think it's so good to remember that it can be something short. We all say, oh, I don't have time, but we all have 5 minutes to take 5 breaths to maybe doodle something or just go outside and say hi to the trees. Yeah.
Sitting right here.
Beautiful. Thank you.
For the people who can see these, I doodle all day long.
There's your doodles. There's your beautiful doodles.
A bunch of these little folded things, and I just doodle on a square.
That's great.
Right. It really is. It is not. Sorry. It's not climbing a mountain, the 3-hour trip to the gym where 2 hours is getting changed and changed back.
Yeah,
it's not
it's
climbing
about
a mountain in Nepal. It's little bits all the time.
I love it. Thank you so much for that and for all the reframes that you've given us over this call. And, I'm putting your website and stuff in the show notes here. You guys go check Julie out. She does a great event every year. And some of her best magic is when you are in the room with her, when you are in the room of this small, intimate, experiential weekend, whether you're on the East Coast or you're going to fly out there. It's a really fantastic event. So I'm so grateful that you came on the show, Julie. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being where you're at and being who you be. It's so good to know that you are there and that other undercover intuitives who are holding the line are there, anchoring both worlds in the midst of this really spicy time. I'm so grateful for you, and I love you.
You too.
And thanks for being here, babe.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.